This video was brought to you by Anime and Comics Fandomania at acfradio.com. Thank you. Okay, in this video we're going to be talking about what is the difference between a nerd and a geek. A nerd and a geek. People confuse these two terms, there's a lot of arguments about these two topics. Some people either say I'm a nerd or I am a geek. But there's quite a different meaning between the two. And today we're going to see how they are alike, how they started, and the definition of both. So what is the difference between a nerd and a geek? So let's start by looking up the definition of each word. So for the word geek, if you look up on the Google dictionary, it says an unfashionable or socially inept person. A person with an eccentric devotion to a particular interest. A computer geek. Google uses this example. A computer geek. In other words, a geek is a person who is devoted, who is really into unusual things. So you can be an anime geek, a computer geek if you're really into computers and the internet. But it can't just be like anything like a football geek or I don't know, like a Jersey Shore geek. It has, the word geek is related to people who are into unusual things, who are really into unusual things. So if you're into Renaissance Fair, you could be like a fantasy geek. You could also be a book geek, in other words, a bookworm. It has to be unusual things that society considers unusual, that whole thing. And also there's so now the word nerd has a different meaning, a bit similar but different. So the word nerd in this case, it says here by the Google dictionary, a foolish or contemplative person who lacks social skills or is boringly studious. One of those nerds who never asks a girl to dance. That is the example that Google dictionary uses. An intelligent, single-minded expert in a particular technical discipline or profession. So a geek is somebody who's obsessed or really interested in something unusual, and a nerd is a foolish or contemplative person who lacks social skills or boringly studies. Now, I didn't look this up to try and insult anybody. If you consider yourself a nerd or a geek, I'm not doing this to insult people or make you feel bad. I want to educate people on the difference between these two terms that are being heavily confused. So, society. This is how society looks at geeks and nerds, or the definition of it. Society sees nerds as people who lack social skills and just study a lot. Probably the person who gets all A's and so and so. But they don't really have a lot of friends or get the date, or get the girl or get the guy that they want. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. Now, the definition of geeks and nerds today in the 21st century. The definition of geeks and nerds today in the 21st century. Geeks and nerds are the same today. The word geek and the word nerd, they have become one. At first, if you were a nerd, you were antisocial or overstudious. And a geek was somebody who was obsessed with something unusual. Now it means both. So you could be, an anime geek. And if you're a nerd is basically the broad word for geeks. So you can be a nerd who's into anime, a nerd who's really into computers, a nerd who's really into Yu-Gi-Oh! Or card games, and then there are those who are not really nerds, but they just like geeky things, like playing Pokemon or cosplaying, or what society sees as unusual. But the word geek and the word nerds no longer have the same meaning. Today they are now the same thing. The word geek and the word nerd, today they have become one. So today it means the same thing. These two words are no longer what they used to be. As far as how people use them, nerd or geek is no longer a word to insult people. People no longer use it to insult you or to make you feel bad. Nowadays, people have more respect for geeks and nerds. Oh, and by the way, that is me with 2 cosplayers at a anime convention. Okay, so people are beginning to have more and more respect for geeks and nerds. More and more respect for geeks and nerds. Especially since since we're so open, and especially thanks to the anime industry and cosplayers. People are so used to seeing us nowadays that they have more respect and they are more acceptance of us and less insulting towards us. So be proud of being a geek or a nerd, whichever word you want to use. You are smart. You are passionate. You are unique and have a lot to offer to the world. Many geeks, especially anime fans, are very creative. Your innovation is very important to the world. Just look at Bill Gates. Thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to check out our website at acfradio.com. Again, this video was brought to you by Anime and Comics Fandomania.
Subscribe!